What's going on today, guys? You know what that is? It's magic in a sack. Carbonex is here. Carbonex isn't really magic. It's not even really new. Well, it is new and it is not new. The idea of biochar is as old as fire. And biochar in the soil, what it's going to do is it's almost like a sponge or coral reef of the soil is what I've heard it called as well. But what it's going to do is it's not very dense, and it's going to have lots of holes in it, lots of surface area, so that's tons of spots to soak up nutrients and hold on to them till they're plant available. So that's going to make your fertilizers more efficient, everything, all your inputs more efficient actually. It's going to hold water, and in situations where you're oversaturated with water, it's going to soak up that water and take it away from the roots to keep them from suffocating. So it's a win-win for the soil. It definitely can improve soil structure and increase CECs. It's going to hold on to that stuff, and the biochar itself isn't going to break down very fast, and it's going to stay in the soil and give that structure for microbial activity and to hold on to those nutrients. But just raw biochar is going to act like a sponge for everything, and it's going to soak up your nitrogen and everything else and hold it until it can't hold anymore. So it could be robbing from your plants. But Carbon Earth has figured that out, and they've come up with a charged biochar product that is spreadable through a permagreen or push spread or whatever you got. So it is new in that respect. But biochar itself, although you're hearing a lot new about it now, is a very, very old, ancient fertility practice. Like I said, as long as there's been fire and dirt and plants, there's been a use of carbon like that, biochar. And you know, you look at forest fires. Forest fires, the forest will burn down, and the soil will become enriched, and a new, larger forest will grow out of that burn down. So it's a natural, very old principle. They've found evidence of ancient people using biochar for farmland in South America and things like that. So biochar not new, Carbonex all new. Let's talk about it. Okay, what's new about Carbonex is until now there hasn't been a way to spread biochar through a spreader because it's so light, and sometimes the pieces are huge and won't flow through a spreader. You'd need a top dresser. There has been products for that out in the past, but now Carbon Earth company has made Carbonex, and Carbonex is the first product that I know of that you can spread biochar through your standard spreader, like a like I've got back there, the Permagreen and the where is it? There, the Lesco, and it does flow through those. Carbonex is not just an organic fertilizer or anything like that. They have it's a hybrid. I mean, I don't know if they would call it that or not, but that's what we're going to call it right now. But it is the biochar mixed with some other things that, if you've been following along with what I do on these grass videos, that I love to use. Things like ammonium sulfate, things like sea kelp, things like humic acid. And we all know how great sea kelp and humic acid are for growing grass and other plants. But they use a pretty neat process. I don't know if I'm supposed to say the process, and I might not even have it right. I think I kind of remember what I was told once upon a time, and it all makes sense. Well, I got a text. What they do is biochar is a hard green wood that is burned down in a process called pyrolysis, I think is what they call it. Anyway, it just means burning with low, limited, or no oxygen. And what that does is it just burns it down into a char sort of instead of ash. So they get that from a source that is using that already and is using the green wood to make the biochar to do something else. The biochar is actually a byproduct of that company. Then they take it and they put it in chicken houses, and the chickens do what they do and charge that biochar with an excellent source. The chicken manure is just one of the greatest fertilizers ever. It is better than a biosolid, which, you know, I use a lot of biosolids, so, but I will admit that, and that's mainly because of the possibilities of pharmaceutical contamination from a waste stream product like a biochar. Biochar. I have biochar on my mind, like a biosolid. Biochar is not a waste stream product. But they put it in chicken houses, it becomes charged, they take it out, they let it finish off, then they soak it in a blend of humic acid and sea kelp. And we know how we love humic acid and sea kelp, and turn it into like a slurry, I guess kind of like oatmeal or something. Then they pound it out into a prill that is a little weighty and will sling through your spreader. And it's dried out, but this brings up another thing. Carbonex is something that's never been done before. Making this spreadable biochar fertilizer like this has never been done before. So there's been some hiccups along the way. Some of the initial stuff, they weren't getting quite dried out enough, and then they had some problems with the supply of the nitrogen they were putting in it and that kind of stuff, and it became clumpy and it didn't spread very well, and it held moisture. I can tell you I've spread about 6 bags of this stuff so far. I'm just getting into it here, and I have not run into a single issue with that. It's as dry as any good quality standard fertilizer I've ever used, and I'll dump some in the thing here in a little bit, and we'll spread some out on my yard, and I'll show you what it looks like. But that on what I have anyway, that issue seems to be resolved, and I have talked with Matt, and he said that they did indeed make some changes and resolve that issue. And the other issue I heard a little bit about was that it was kind of crumbly and dusty toward the bottom of the bag. And on the few bags that I've gotten out so far out of the pallet, I've got not an issue at all, and I don't see where it would be. And I think that's something that they addressed also. So they got some of the problems solved. I heard there was some distribution problems and production problems. They tell me they're ramping up production and they're working on more efficient ways to get that out. Shipping 2,000 pounds to this guy and that guy and that guy all over the country, not an easy task, and it ain't cheap either. But as things progress, that part will improve too, I'm sure. What was I talking? Anyway, making the Carbonex. So we've got the slurry of humic and kelp and the chicken manure charged biochar, dried and pounded into little prills. Then they'll add things like iron and ammonium sulfate and urea to boost up its growing power. But that's pretty much in a nutshell what it is. All right, let's talk a little bit more about it. All right, Carbonex comes in this fancy plain white bag with a sticker on it. I'm sure there's plans for improvement there. I've got my own plan for improvement. Carbonex. It's got urea, ammonium sulfate. It's got a potash in it, iron, humic and kelp, biochar. My little chalk piece ran out. That's all the chalk I got left, so I was gonna do more. But there's the chicken charging the biochar. All right, one of the major things about the biochar is it's gonna improve your soil CEC. These sandy soils like I've got here, and I've got another yard right up the street over there that we're gonna put this out on today. The yard over there has a 0.9 CEC, so not even a full point. So it's very sandy. So this, over time, This Carbonex should move that CEC up, and we have a baseline before Carbonex, and then we're going to be able to take a soil test in here after Carbonex and see if we have changed that CEC any. One major component this thing's going to do is it's going to hold water in these sandy soils, water and nutrients until they need it, till the plant needs it and it becomes plant available. And in oversaturated soils, it'll actually soak up some of those waters. So I ran out of stuff, but I was going to write a lot more and draw pictures. It would have stopped about right there. Anyway. All right, I've decided to improve the Carbonex bag aesthetically, and this is a good one. I'll show it to you. Matt, I can fix these bags up for you for about $3 a piece. Send me the bags first, and I'll put, I'll correct them and send them back to you. All right, let me show you my aesthetically improved Carbonex sack. Okay, this is my new aesthetically improved Carbonex bag. That's gorgeous. This ought to work good. Okay, I'm gonna try to do this one-handed holding the camera just to see how it's coming out of the bag. I'm gonna look in that bliss. Okay, there it is in the hopper. It's nice and dry and separated. That's his nitrogen source in it there. That's a big old prill, and there's some in it bigger than that. But that's the Carbonex. And that little Carbonex piece should kind of remain in the soil and act as almost like a bacteria hotel, beneficial bacteria hotel. Okay, like I said, Carbonex is a 2404. That's going to be good for Bermuda, obviously, fescue, zoysia, maybe some St. Augustine. They're probably a little hot for centipede. I'm told that there's going to be an option for a lower nitrogen, maybe just a straight carbon product, the carbon prill without all the ammonium sulfate and urea in it, and more kelp and humic and some iron. And that, my friends, is a centipede dream right there. And you could even get away with some light summer applications on fescue with that. Anyway, talking about the Carbon X today, not the Carbon Next. Anyway, I'm going to put this out on my yard. I'm going to get pretty close to a full pound of actual nitrogen on it, but I'm just going to show you the Carbonex flowing through the permagreen and all that. Get you some action shots of me doing some awesome fertilizer application, stuff like that. All right, here we go. Okay, I've put a little bit of my Lesco here to run in this fenced in area I can't fit the permagreen in. See how it runs out of the push spreader. Don't mess with that. All right, I can't really show my yard all half dead like this without explaining once again. I'm gonna try to grow this in, and I'm hoping the Carbonex and a combination of humic and kelp and products like that will help me get it covered. I might chicken out and at least buy one pallet of sod and cut some squares up in there and try to get it to weave together. Anyway, in short, the Carbonex, flowability issues. Not anymore. That you can't flow any better than what that stuff was. It's a little big, so the prill size, so you're gonna have the action and the prill size is a little big. But you're gonna have to set it at a little higher setting than you generally do with a smaller prill, just like, you know, basic common sense. Anyway, Carbonex is gonna be great because the biochar is gonna be a great improver for the soil, home for beneficial microbial activities. It'll hold water, hold nutrients, so POW, improve CECs, the ammonium sulfate, things like that, awesome for growing grass. Humic and kelp, awesome. The chicken manure is full of micro nutrients, everything else. So just everything you would want in a fertilizer in there. If you know, I had my input, I would probably like, I mean, that product's great for Bermuda grass, fescue, zoysia, stuff like that. I would love to see a little bit smaller prill, more humic, more kelp, more iron in a lower nitrogen version that you could run on more stuff. All right, anyway, so far so good on the Carbonex. I cannot wait to see results from this stuff. I'm gonna ride the Permagreen down the street and go ahead and make an application on that low CEC yard. I don't see any need to film that, and then I got to go out and do some more jobs. I'm going to show you another application I'm going to use the Carbonex in. But if you want to get this stuff, if you're a homeowner, go through GCI Turf Academy or the lawn care nut store, Allen Hain. I'm not sure what the prices are. If you're a pro, I think you can still contact Chris Elms at Greene County Fertilizer, or contact the Carbon Earth Company, and you're gonna have to do all the googly footwork on that. I don't know how to do all that, but and post it up here. I was gonna write it on the sidewalk, but I ran out of chalk. All right, so flowability issues, they ain't there no more with the Carbonex. So he got that fixed. He's got an awesome product there, man. Get you some. Thanks, guys.